Om and peace. Welcome. Here's an up-close look at the ever-evolving, ever-becoming guru that is developing within me. Not there yet. Most of us aren't there yet. But it's already in there. The connection to the God Self is not far off. We tread but a razor's edge, a thin line between our knowing, our full illumination, our full understanding, and our full receiving of self-realization of our personhood. Our divine personhood, our divine inheritance. I want to let you know, right here on Temple of the New Humanity TV, that the temple actually, I wanted to be called the Ascension Temple of the New Humanity, but after some really intense scrutiny and some discernment, I think it's more appropriate to call it the Primordial OM Temple of the New Humanity. It'll be dedicated to the practices and the lifestyle and philosophy and cosmology and the creology of yoga, all of its branches, all of its practices, as well as other forms of meditation and lifestyle, such as Zen practice or Taoist meditations or various dance meditations, sound meditations, mantra meditations that come from all different traditions. We'll engage in centering prayer from the Christian tradition. It's going to be a beautiful fusion of things happening. And January 1st, 2012 will be the opening of the real grand opening of the Primordial OM Temple of the New Humanity. I'm inviting people there now at projectnewhumanity.ning.com. That's projectnewhumanity.ning.com to join the social network for free right now. And you, if you do this before January 1st, you will have lifetime access to webinars for free. And they'll be about yoga, there'll be meditation, joint meditation things going on around the world, synchronous meditations happening in multiple locations, engaging in virtual classroom type of activity. Certain classes will be free, some will be donation based. There's a virtual classroom there. There's lots of tools. There's lots of videos on there that I've put on there from this channel and from YouTube and from other sources. And I'm going to give you our address for our Blip TV channel, which I don't have right in front of me right now. I'm setting basically 4 goals for the presence and the execution and the building of the social network and the inner haven, so to speak. It's not a church. It's not a building that you go to worship in. It's the temple itself. The Temple of the New Humanity itself is literally that of which is in your heart, that of which is in your altar, your inner altar. And for the things that we're going to strive for is to equip people to have the constant awareness of God's presence especially in everyday life, having mindfulness in everyday activities, carrying that into the mundane. Becoming a mundane mystic is basically the goal of having God's constant presence, the awareness of God's constant presence. Number 2, God union or communion through bliss and calmness. This can be attained and reached through meditation. And when you become seasoned enough in meditation, you can do it like that. It's like flicking on a switch. You can go beyond techniques. But we need techniques to sometimes get us to the place of whether samadhi or satori or nirvana or grace. Third goal, wisdom-guided leadership and discernment for all who partake in all the yogic activities, of the yogic studies from Hatha Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, adapted forms of Kriya Yoga, and some of the primordial forms of yoga that I believe that I'm helping to rebirth, that I will be doing, that we will be doing together. And number 4 is to allow us each to discover our own magnetism, love and compassion, and I would add in joy and unending love. Did I say that? I already said love. Unending bliss. Well, that was mentioned in 2. So bliss gets a double advertisement today, if that's okay with you. We've been having various series on this show, and this episode in particular is an advertisement for a program out there that will help you to deal with fragmentation in your life, with thought processes going out of control, deluded thinking, being so totally identified with your desires, your cravings, your urges, all the stimuli that comes in from the outside world. That's part of why we've been doing the self-defense and well-being course. I'm just advocating right now for silencing 1,000 barking dogs. Those 1,000 barking dogs are all the various different urges and tentacles and things and stimuli that from the senses that pull you in all these different directions outward, when our real invitation is to go inward to the temple within. That's the temple of the new humanity in the heart chamber, the golden chamber of the heart. Now, we will have a mini lesson here real quick from Psychic Self-Defense and Well-Being, the Energized Aura, your protective power sharing force field. Silencing 1,000 barking dogs is available in 2 locations. No, more than 2. About 5. But I'm going to give you 2 locations that you really need to check out. And then 1, if you're willing to spend a little bit more, which I don't know why you would want to do that. Okay, Silencing 1,000 Barking Dogs, Volume 1, Muzzling Mental Mania. And then Volume 2 is, I had to think about that for a minute. Shaking Hands with the Dog Day Devil You're Pretending to Be, Atonement and Annihilation of Ego. And what we're doing in that series is progressing towards, ultimately, a meditative or yogic lifestyle that is going to allow us to be free from our desires, to walk the path towards liberation, towards enlightenment, towards self-realization, towards Christ consciousness, towards cosmic consciousness, to living in superconscious awareness. To rise up out of the subconscious currents that keep us unconscious of who we are, which is the divine indwelling. You can find it on Amazon MP3 for a mere $6.99 for the album, and if you purchased each individual download by itself for 89 cents a piece, you'd be paying about $35 more. So if you say, well, I just want to try a couple of these out, you might as well just buy the album for $6.99. It's going to be the same cost as if you bought seven of them anyways. $7, $6.99. Amazon MP3, Silencing 1,000 Barking Dogs by Father Brian Rice. If you haven't seen any of these videos, I am Father Brian Rice. And Volume 2 and 1 are combined. They are one on there. They are one. I'm not kidding you. And then on iTunes, $9.99 for the same exact thing. So you can choose to pay $6.99, or you can pay $9.99 for 45 tracks of audio, which most of the tracks are over 30 minutes long. That's over 30 hours worth of material for $7. Why would you pass that up? Especially if it's going to help you to diagnose and to help begin to give you tools to treat the problem of that mind that does not stop, the train of thought that does not stop, the monkey mind, as it's called in the East. All that mind chatter. Those 1,000 barking dogs. Do you feel like your thoughts are spiraling out of control, obsessively, frantically, you're living in a fragmented existence? And no, you don't need to have a diagnosed form of schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder to have that restlessness. Yogis speak of that restlessness, the agitation of the mind that we need to still. Are your thoughts coming in and out like a tidal wave, a huge tidal wave, or a typhoon, or a tsunami? Even worse? Are they still and even-minded? Are you consciousness not identified with thought? Because ultimately we are not thought. Thoughts do not define us. Though we do define thought. It's a negative dead-end highway too. Descartes was wrong. I think, therefore I am. No, that was complete insanity introduced into humanity. But the insanity that humanity has had to experience has been about since creation into the projection of the manifest world, which is nothing more than thought. We're not going to go to the cosmology. I'm just telling you about a great deal. Hey, if you want, you could spend on learnoutloud.com. You could spend $17.99 for Volume 1 and maybe about $21.95 for Volume 2. But why would you do that? If you could get on Amazon MP3, it's already in MP3 format. You just use the Amazon MP3 downloader and download Silencing 1,000 Barking Dogs. You're going to find out that you are not alone in your compulsive fixations and those octopus-like tentacles that reach out of you and self-grasp at everything around you. Or it's like the dogs that don't stop barking, or that bark in a continuous chain reaction and they don't even know what they're barking at. It's like our thoughts and reactions and emotional stories that we attach to factual events, to happenings in our life. Those emotions, the currents, so all the afflictive emotions, all the bombarding thoughts, as in the psychic warfare book, are talked about as missiles, psychic missiles, psychic bombs, psychic weapons that could be coming from the spirit world as well. So that's why we need to do this series, and that's why you got to continue to watch the series on psychic self-defense, Auric Doctor, Auric Warrior. And that's why you should really get. I'm not just because I'm trying to make a buck, because I'm not going to be making a heck of a whole lot of money for people spending $6.99 on 45 MP3 tracks. It's just not going to happen. I'm doing it because I'm trying to prime the pump for what's to come, which is a volume on the Enneagram, on discovering the essence of your presence beyond personality, beyond the personality type that you have assumed in your life through conditioning, as a result of falling out of awareness of your original wholeness, which is that state of Edenic oneness. So all the clamor, all the noise, all the chattering, all the stimulation, it might be coming from the spirit world, disembodied spirits. It might be coming from earthbound spirits attached to you or surrounding you. But the yogic lifestyle is the best answer I know for it, and it's going to be advocated tremendously. Om, peace, silencing 1,000 barking dogs. I thought that it was going to end there. I'm not even going to open the book today, but psychic self-defense is vital for every person. So that's going to be part of the very ending and culmination of silencing 1,000 barking dogs, is defending yourself against all the things that assault and take away your peace. Oh.